Hi everyone, welcome back to Fire Biscuit Gaming. This is Johan, and today I want to bring you through my escape game that I've designed the last few months. After a bunch of rounds of playtesting, I think it's ready to go, so I wanted to show it to you. So escape game can take multiple forms. This one is in the format of a treasure chest. There are a series of puzzles to get into the chest and go all the way to where the treasure is actually buried, and your goal is to find and open the treasure box that contains the treasure. So we are going to solve this escape game together, and I'll bring you through the various mechanics in the game. So first, as you can see, there is a lock, combination lock of 0 to 9, 3 digits that you need to solve in order to get into the box. You can see there is a small sticker of a maze, which means you have to solve a maze to enter this box. So if we rotate the box, you will notice that we have two elements at the back. First, you have the backstory, which tells the story of how you found that chest inside your grandfather's attic. And then here you have the actual maze that you're looking for. So in order to solve that maze, you can first identify the entrance here, and then the exit here, and then you notice there are a bunch of letters scattered around the maze. And obviously, as you trace your way through the maze from entrance to exit, you will form a set of words, and each word represents the digit from the combination lock. So if you start from the left side and you go up this way, S, I, go up, X, so 6, and you continue here, F, then you go down I, V, E, so 6, 5, and then 0 or O, N, and then we exit with the E. So the combination lock will be 6, 5, and 1. So let's test it out. We rotate back to the combination lock. We put the 6, 5, 1. All right, let's open and see what's inside. It's a very satisfying sound. And wow, so much stuff in there. So let's unpack and see what's inside. So as you can see, there are a bunch of stuff in the box. So let's unpack it together. First, we have the captain's log, which describes the various crew members and what they like to do on board. Then we have this very interesting looking box with a bunch of symbols on it, and then letters and numbers around the sides, and it seems to contain a bunch of stuff. We have a series of pictures which are quite interesting. We can see later what they do. We have a map of some kind of islands, set of islands. We have some additional letters here. We'll look at it in a bit. We seem to have a music sheet, which we'll film later. There is another piece of paper here, someone's journal. Okay, we'll look at it. And then we have 4 additional boxes at the bottom. There is a notebook for people to take notes, and a bunch of pens which are definitely not historically accurate. And at the bottom there is a box of hints, which is not the final box. I'm waiting for the final box to arrive, and some envelope with all the hints or codes for people to reset the puzzles at the end. So let's take everything out. So there are 4 boxes. Each box has an icon. Some stuff here. You can see music notes. This looks like some code, some heart shape, and then some images. So first we should look at the captain's log, which was conveniently placed on top of everything that you've unpacked. And it tells us the story of how this pirate called Nemeth and his crew found a treasure chest buried somewhere in one of the islands. And they are celebrating their discovery, but the captain doesn't trust the crew members to not reveal the location of the treasure, so he has disseminated the information across multiple crew members. So we have 4 crew members: Drake, Tia, Randall, and Galen. Each of them like to do certain things on board, and we're going to start with solving the Drake puzzle. So if you look at Drake, Drake is a lover, and he has a woman in every port, and then the icon is a heart. Looking at all the boxes that we have, there's one with a heart here, which matches the one from the captain's log. Looking at all the clues that we have taken out of the box, we can see that we have music notes. That doesn't sound like it. We have Galen, which is called by name. We have pictures, which probably match someone else. And then there are love letters to different women: Bianca, Amelia, and Carolina. And you can see, looking at those love letters, that some of the words are bolded. So obviously means something. So We have 3 love letters. All right. This one is actually a relatively simple puzzle, especially when you look at it this way. I don't know if you've seen it already, but if you look at the bolded letters, it actually, or bolded words, it actually forms a number. So looking at this one, you can see the shape, the 3. Looking at the next one, a bit harder to see. I didn't want it to be too obvious. So if you look from afar, it looks like a 4. And then the final one, that one is the most obvious one. It's definitely a 0. Now, in which order should we place them? Well, you could try all combinations, or you could realize that the letters of the first letter of every woman can be ordered by Emilia A, Bianca B, and Carolina C. So A, B, and C, that gives us the combination of 4, 3, and 0, which we will try in the chest. So we found the combination 4, 3, 0 representing the heart lock. So we look at the lock, we just put 4, 3, and 0, and this is correct. So we can open the box. Lo and behold, there's just 3 small pieces in there. You can see. So these are like some snake path, and at the back we have some icon and a piece of a sentence or something of some sort. So if you look at all 3, right? So there's an I that says is in this dam. Then there's some kind of water feature that says I, not the, and then some kind of matchstick that says ho ho. So looking at the shape and looking at the icons, it feels like it should somehow match with this big box here. All right, now that we figured out the code for Drake, let's look at the next one, Tia. So Tia is a songstress, and she likes to delight the crew with horrible songs. So let's figure out which of the clues matches to the songstress. Firstly, you can see that the box here, there's a box with a music notes that matches the captain's log here. So that's the box we need to open. And then looking at the remaining clues, we have a map, we have the pictures, we have Galen's journal, so obviously belongs to Galen, and then we have a music sheet signed by Tia. So in the music sheet, a bunch of stuff that you can see, but look at it first without me telling you. Okay, then you will realize that you have some kind of keynote here that tells you the name of each note, and then you have a horrible song that I've written myself that describes some stuff, and then some of the notes are actually of different colors than the others. So they are white notes, they are black notes. If you look at the song basically tells you that you should not look at the R, you should look at the C. So looking at the C from the note, the keynote at the bottom, the C is this note, and then you notice that all the C's are actually whited out. And we need a 3-digit combination, and there are 3 segments to this partition. And by counting the number of notes, you will know how many, what is the combination for each. So counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 6, 5, 2 should be the combination. So we found 652 from the music sheet, so I entered it here. Let's see if that worked. Indeed it worked. So I expect to find the same kind of pieces inside. So 3 more pieces to add to the collection. 4 boxes, 3 pieces each, that's 12 pieces. And we'll figure out how to map it to the captain's box in a moment. So next, we saw Drake and Tia. The next one is Randall. So Randall is the artist on board, and he likes to draw scenes and all kinds of paintings. So let's identify which clue maps the most to Randall. Could be the map, or it could be obviously those pictures. So let's lay them down. So we have a bunch of pictures. A lot of them look like they are similar to each other. So if you've seen this kind of puzzle before, you might want to look for differences between the pictures. So let's see. So we have 3 of that lady, it's probably Tia. 3 at the bottom of this guy with the monkey or lemur, and then 3 of this other guy. So let's start with maybe this guy. I think this guy is the easiest. If you look at it closely, you have a bunch of elements on that picture. You have a compass, you have numbers, and you have the rest of the picture. And you might identify that one of them doesn't look like the others. So for example, If you look at the shoes here, he doesn't have shoes in this picture. He has a wooden leg. So that might be the one that we are interested in. For the next one, we have the guy with the lemur. Until you notice that the colors of the vials that he's carrying are different. So these ones are red. This one's also red. And this one here is the original color of the vial. So that must be the picture we are looking for. So the pictures of Tia, the songstress, this is what she looks like. And then you will realize that here there's a bird, here there's a bird, here there's no bird. So that's actually the real picture right here. So now we have those three pictures. We have the guy without the foot, the picture without the bird, and then the one with the different vials. So now we have three pictures, three numbers. How do we order them? Same thing, we could try all different combinations until we realize that in each picture, the sun is in different directions. And in this case, if you look at the compass, the sun rises to the east and sun sets in the west, you can order them like this: 0, 0, 1, and 6. Enter the combination into the box. Let's see. And of course, we get another 3 of those maize species we can lay down with the others. All right, so we've solved 3 out of 4. The next one is Galen, which is the spy. He likes to talk in code and really likes to grunt. So looking at the remaining Galen's journal notes, there are some clues that you have to look at. First is the icon for Galen. So the icon, as you can see here on the box, there are dots and dashes. So if you're familiar with this kind of codes, this is looking like Morse code. And then because I don't want people to bring in external knowledge, there's actually a reference sheet here for Morse code stuck inside the treasure chest. So now that you know that is some kind of Morse code, how would you translate the note into Morse code? So if you remember the clue, you will notice that it grunts a lot. By grunting, you will have a lot of R's and Yars and stuff like this. So looking at the note, you will have to figure out, okay, why are there so many R's? Why are there so many Yars? So they might represent a dot or a dash. And actually, if you map the R's and the Yars, you will have dots and dashes. And then looking at the reference sheet in the box, you should come up with the corresponding value for each of those 3 paragraphs. And we need 3 digits. And you'll come up with the solution 5, 1, and 7. So if we open the box, 517, 517, indeed. Okay, so for this next puzzle, we have to open the captain's box. And as you notice, we have 12 icons here, and we have 12 tiles here that we should try to map to these icons. We could try to look at the other side, but then you notice somehow that it doesn't really map very well. And then there is a directional problem where you don't know in which direction to place it. So the way to solve this is to basically map the icons with the icons on the box. So if we do this, let's take an example. This one looks like a nail, right? And if we look at the other 12 around here, there's one that looks like a nail too. So you just take it, place it there. So that's the first step. Now, if we place all of them the same way, we'll have the sink here, we have an eye, we have a drop, we have the wave, light, we have a palm tree, and we have fly, a bird fly, and we have feather, original update, and we have match, here, looking, over, and letter R, and letter here. And the last one looks like 2 people shaking hands, or this one looks like meat. So just put them together. So now that we've mapped all 12 symbols to the other 12 symbols on the box, we have some kind of ordering now. And we can read the words underneath. So this is a very complex puzzle. It has multiple layers. So the first layer is matching the symbols. The second layer is to decode that sentence. Cannot remember where the island is in this damn archipelago, yar. Blimey, I should have known to use my one good eye, not the peg leg, nor the hook yo ho ho. If you are astute, you will notice that some of those letters have been capitalized, like the C is capitalized, which is normal for the first word, but the R is capitalized, which is not normal for second word. And looking at this, you notice the C, R, A for archipelago, D, K, E, and the Y of the yo ho ho. So that matches to crab key. And looking at our map, we can see that we have a bunch of island names. So now the captain is telling us where the treasure is, which island of this archipelago the treasure is. And the island is Crab Key up here. So now that we've identified where the island where the treasure is buried, we need to find where the treasure is on this island. So let's flip all those tiles together, and then we notice that it's forming some very interesting path. As I make the final version, I should make sure those tiles actually match exactly the square shape of where they are placed onto. But now, how do we choose which path to start on and which path to land in? So that's where you look around the box, and you will notice that you have numbers and letters in red and black, and they all map to actually an entrance and an exit on one of those paths. But we don't know where to start and where to end. And if you've played board games like Tsuro, these are actually similar pieces than the Tsuro puzzles. You will also notice that inside the treasure chest, there is another clue that shows you that you enter from a red and you exit the path from a black. So somehow the letters in red map to number in black. So back to the captain's box. There are letters and numbers around the box, right? And from the sentence just now, we have extracted the island name, which is Crab Key. So if we follow, let's find where the C is. Where is the C? C. So we follow the C starting from red. We follow the path here. It goes here, it goes here, and it goes here, and C ends at 3. If we do this for all the letters of Crab Key, we end up with 3 digits, a plus, and another 3 digits. That gives us the combination for the lock. Okay. So we found the combination for the lock, which in this case would be 4, 7, and 6. Matter 7 and 6. All right. So let's see what's inside that captain's box. Are we done? Is this the treasure? Of course not. Okay, we have a bunch of stuff here. We have another box with some pouch and dice inside. We have another map, which is the map of our Crab Key Island here. And then we have a piece of paper inside, which seem to contain more clues. One clue on top, one clue at the bottom, and a bunch of colored dots. All right, so now we are inside the captain's box, and we have a map of the island. We are looking for where the treasure is buried. So looking at the clues, we have 2 types of clues. One with the map icon, most likely maps to the map itself. All right, and then the other one is a diamond icon, which most likely maps to the treasure. And if you notice, the box has a map icon. So we need to solve the map riddle first. So let's look at the text and see what we can notice from the text. Okay, so you will notice that it's describing some kind of activity going on this island, where the captain is saying, okay, they went through the island, was treacherous and stuff like this. But similar to the captain's box or Crab Key, some of those letters are weirdly capitalized. There's an E here, there's an NE here, another SE here, and E and stuff. And if you're astute, you will realize that these are compass directions: north, south, east, southwest. And so looking at the map, there is a ship and a cross. This is probably where the ship is docked right now, or would be docked if they were to look for the treasure. And starting from that position, following the direction of the compass, which is where the north is on the left here. So that's a bit cheeky on my side. The north is not on top, it's on the left. So by following the direction north, east, southwest, you will go around the island and then eventually land up here near the water. Looking at this position, you'll be on the 8 and 11. So the code might be 811. 1, 811. Indeed. What do we have inside? Another box All right, so now we found where the treasure was buried, but the captain, being cheeky, left a secret lock on top of the chest that only his favorite pair of dice, the one he uses for cheating at gambling, can open. So how do we map those dice to this weird cryptic puzzle here with the dots? So first, you might realize that we have a 3-dot colors here. So I don't know if they render well in the video, but there's a red one, a yellow one, and a brown one. And remember, we always need 3 digits. It's been consistent throughout the game. So these are probably the 3 digits. Now, how do we map the dice to this? So most of you have played this game called Tetris, and you will notice that the dice themselves, they have interesting Tetris faces. Like there's an S here, there's a square, there's a small L, a long, and all this. So the way this puzzle works is you have to map the faces of the die to the pieces on this board. And actually, there is only one way to solve this puzzle, and that's what the dots are for. The dots are here to tell you which face matches with which. So here, there are multiple ways here. See, this one is an easy one, red. There's a square shape. There's only a square shape that can fit here. So you would take your dice, you know that the first dice is a square. And now you look at the other shapes here, and there are multiple ways to solve this. But if you look closely, you know, this one can be an S because the blue and blue have to connect. And this one could be a big L or could be a small L. And then this one could be something like this, right? So as you go through these things, you realize that the blue one is probably an S, and so on and so forth.
So once you've placed all the dice so that every same color dot map to a single die, the solution looks something like this. If it was a real-world puzzle, like in some fancy escape games, you could imagine that there would be a combination lock where you can actually place the dice inside, and only when you place the right dice, then it would unlock. So in this case, once you've solved it, you realize that the brown shape here maps to this one, the red one we saw was the square, and then the yellow one maps to this one, which is the small t. Now, how does this translate into number? And that's where you have to look beyond this clue and back into the box. And inside the box, you will realize that there is a mapping of shapes to numbers. And in this case, the square would map to a 5, the small t would map to a 9, and then the tiny l in this direction would map to an 8. So if we go back to our treasure, last final, hopefully, treasure box, 5, 9, and 8. Indeed, it opens, and ta-da! We found our amazing treasure here with a bunch of like nice coins. And there's a QR code for you to scan and give me feedback if you enjoyed the game.
All right, this is the end of this video. As you can see, there are a lot of things happening in this puzzle. Some of them are still a bit too complicated, so I'm working on simplifying them. Some, like the captain's box, is multi-layered, and a lot of people get stumped, especially if they haven't played games like Suro where you have to follow paths. So I'm looking at what other hints I could give, or even changing the puzzle altogether. But overall, the experience should be between 45 minutes to 1 hour, 1 hour 15 minutes if you're not familiar with these kind of puzzles. But I'm quite satisfied with it. It took me a few months to put this together. And yeah, so if you're around in Singapore and you want to try the box, let me know. And you're welcome to try it. Otherwise, happy to see you in the next video.